Hey there, I'm JB, and in today's episode we are going to work into this area and make something beautiful by using some handy mods that I will explain along the way with some extra tips that I have learned. Also, thank you guys for the comments, and I will sure implement a road named random, and I might have an idea for it. Alright, there might be a couple of things that you have noticed already. First of all, the blue fog is gone because I've been downloading a mod called Clouds and Fog Toggler, and this will take care that the blue fog will be gone. You can also get rid of the industrial fog, and that is just very nice. You can see a lot better like this. Then another one of these is the traffic manager, which is down here. This is going to be a lot of fun to play around with these things. This will also take care that your roundabout will not be stuck. And of course, one of the other handy things that I got right down here is the landscaping tool. This is just very handy if you just need to remove a whole bunch of stuff in once right around here, because it can be a lot of work to do this one by one. And now that we're at it, I also would like to show you a very nice trick which I just recently discovered myself while I was just playing some off-camera stuff. And that this slider is not just, you know, when you want to place it like that you have lesser dents of it, but there is also a very nice handy other trick that you can do with it. Now, if you would like to have, for an example, a row of trees, normally when you would do something like that, it would just, you know, spawn like a complete wall of trees down there, which is not very handy, right? You want to have some space between in. You can exactly do it with this. So let's say, for an example, we're going to put this on 0.20, then you don't have to manually click each certain amount of space. You can just click and then just drag. Then it will do it itself. And the speed is not important. No matter how fast or how slow you go, it will always give the same amount of space. And this is just super duper handy. Now, of course, in order to make some of these mods work, you're going to need to have the Harmony mod, which is just a mod that takes care that other mods can actually run into this game. I got all of these mods that I'm using in this episode into the description. You can take a look and download if you like to. Now, I've also discovered that it's actually a very bad idea to just spawn a lot of trees down here into the farm area, because once you've done that, all of this will disappear. Even when you remove those trees again, it will be completely gone. So you always want to be sure to be careful with your farm area. So in this case, the last time we have been building this, and you know, I'm not happy with it because I would like to create something that is a little bit more realistic, and this is not realistic at all. This doesn't make any sense. It might be like a nice, you know, a project by a designer, but I don't like it. I want to create something that makes more sense, that is more realistic. Now, another thing that I have been learning from the bigger YouTube, which is Biffa and City Planner Plays, is that the best thing to do is share up your industry. For an example, you can better have one piece down here, one piece down here, one piece down here. Have some houses also spread out, and also the commercial zone spread out. The more you do that, the better your traffic will actually flow, rather than having a whole industry area here, a whole town down here, because everything will move at the same time throughout a small part of the road and back. Same goes for commercial zone. Maybe for some people that might be logic, but this is sometimes easy to forget to say. Also, a very handy tip here is keep trees away from these, what I'm gonna call it, windmills, wind turbines, there we go, because also the airflow will be lesser. And I didn't think that would have been a real thing in this game. I know it is a real thing into the game RimWorld. Maybe it's logic that it also works in this game. Now, I am going to take it easy with all of these mods, because the more mods the heavier the game, and I don't want to have like a very laggy game. I could have downloaded like all kinds of more handy things. Maybe slowly along the way I will get a few couple extras. I want to take it easy. Now, this area down here that we are going to build is going to stay here. This is not going to be something that is going to change along the way, unlike this area down here. This area down here is nice, but it is like a mess. It is always something that happens at the start of your, you know, the whole city, unless you got no money, got everything unlocked, and you can just, you know, take it easy, take your time. Also, a very handy thing with this mod is that in a very large distance, for example right down here, you can actually remove some of these trees, because there is a limited amount of trees that you can place, but it's also reduce the amount of resources for your PC in order to, you know, have all of these trees in your map. I do want to say you want to be careful removing it up close, because sometimes, you know, for example like here, if I would remove this and I decide to make a forest down here, you know, it is kind of weird to see like a cut off, or especially on islands, like you don't want to have that. Now, one other thing that I'm going to keep in mind for the future is that we are going to need to have a train station here for all of the goodies to be transported all over the place. This is going to be something that is going to be super duper busy, so we're going to keep in mind to already think about the flow that will come and go. I'm just gonna pause the game down here. What I would ideally like to have is having one on and off ramp for this way here and one of them down here. I am going to wait with one down here, because also adding more and more and more roads will cost a lot of money, which now I'm thinking about it, I'm just gonna delete this down here. This area here will slowly but surely change. Now I'm gonna keep a few couple of things. Of course this will stay here because this is our storyline. This here, I just have to see how I'm going to implement that. This will be gone. That will also be gone later on. I just want to make things, you know, I want to start making things look pretty. I also want to do a little bit of smoothing out the terrain. I'm going to be very careful here and do not go too tight. Just a little bit. And then let's fix a nice intersection down here. Now I am going to use this guy, even though it doesn't match up with these roads. This is something that slowly but surely will change along the way once we unlock more parts of the map. But for now, let me just see what would be handy. This is just gonna go straight, that is gonna go straight, so I guess it's the best to just, you know, keep it with this down here, and there we go, no regrets. Later on this road will go just pass by into this area, and we also have another highway coming here, and let's see if we can make like a nice intersection of these two highways into one that will go into a city onto this island. So for now this is all we can do with what we have. Later on maybe we can add some sound barriers and whatnot. Alright, so this highway, this is going to be a small project, because right down here anything else will be made separately. I'm not gonna go that way from this area. This is going to be its own separate area. Now I do want to keep a little bit with the theme of, you know, how things are in real life. With farm areas you often see like these are smaller roads, or we can just decide to have it like smaller roads. In this case I mean like dirt roads. I also don't need like a massive gigantic farm area, because it is way too much for the demand at the beginning of the game anyways. So we're just going to, you know, take a nice piece, and we're just gonna make it like this down here, and then we're going to have an entrance and exit. I do want to make it look nice with trees around it. I do want to give it a little bit of space on the inside and outside. Alright, so in this case we're going to make the highway up here, because from up here we can make a ramp going on and off with a road going underneath here, and then we can connect it up to the train station later on. Now what I would like to do is make a massive roundabout here, then make the highway go like this, and then later on somewhere it's gonna go connect back up right down here. Then we have like a nice flow for in and out in this area for both this area here and of course for the train station. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to need to see how am I going to make the roundabout look nice compared with the highway. I guess I just first need to figure out what is the middle. I guess this could be the middle. It's going to be a very big roundabout, because later on there's going to be a lot of traffic on this single on and off ramp from this highway. That's why I don't want to attach anything from this area over here. It'll be its own little project, and then I ran out of money. So yeah, this is the whole thing. We're going to have a money making area because these highways cost a lot of money, and or is the reason why I cannot just start building this whole project in once. And of course I can just crank it up, and of course the one thing I could be doing is just crank this up to a 11 down here. That is the absolute max of what you can ask. The best thing to do later on, if you really start making a lot of money, you want to crank the taxes down back to 10. For the best reason being that if you have a lot of money, you make a lot of money, and it's cranked back down, and at some point you start to get a little bit into trouble again, you still have this backup, and then you can crank it higher again. Now, from what I've seen, the best thing to do is make a roundabout of at least 2 lanes, max 3 lanes if you're really into this lane switching type of deal. Making a roundabout of more than 3 lanes is just, it's not going to really work unless you have a very genius plan on how you can, switch off and on with these lane connectors and or the lane arrows to make it work. Or at least that is from what I have seen. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this into a 2 lane. My doing that will be enough. Of course, later on, if there is a little bit of trouble going on, you can kind of see where the traffic is coming from. You can always decide to make like an exit and entrance on this guy, and or one down here. But that's something for very far future. Now, also in this case, one very important thing down here is to not make the lane that come off from this part too short. So the thing you should not be doing is make it like this. This might be a little bit of a thing, but I would recommend myself to go further because I have seen stuff. I have been doing a little bit off camera stuff, and one of the silliest things that I've been doing is making it like this. And what basically happens here is that the traffic will stop down here. Because when there's like a bus onto this part down here, the traffic here will not cross this intersection because that will be automatically forbidden to do. So it will stop here and then move on when this one has moved around the corner. So there is no flow. It will continuously stop, and that's just very bad. You don't want to have that. Another thing that would be very nice from a roundabout with 2 lanes is actually make this into a 4 lane, unless it's like a tiny little area. But then again, a roundabout with 1 lane would also be very nice. I hope they will add that into the future Cities Skylines too. But in this case, I'm gonna make use of a 4 lane because it's 2 coming off and 2 going on. Now I will explain more about that too, but there's a reason why that would be more handier. Now, of course, keep in mind I'm not a Cities Skylines pro, so there might be some things that I'm saying wrong. Might be not though. In this case, I'm going to make this road like that, and then I'm going to take a 4-laner from here to there. And you also want to, keep some space, keep some distance. You don't want to cram everything up right away because in the future it can, bring some problems. So with this being done, we can actually start playing around with some of this stuff already. So why is this handy to have this like that? The thing is, this one can be used to move here and here. So if you need to go off onto the highway, cars will go here and then go off. This one will be used to go straight, because once you're here, you're forced to go off. This is going to be very handy. We can do this and that. We can force them to choose one of these. And then with this one, you don't always have to use these lanes. You can also use this guy. In some cases, it's more handier or quicker. But this one, you can only go off to here. This one now will take care that stuff will evenly set up down here. So it's not like all of these guys, if they have to choose, they might just go all like right down here or all right down here. It just depends on how things are further ahead, and then only one lane will be used, and that is just a shame. This one they can just choose whatever they like, but now this becomes handy because depending on, you know, what they will like, you can also just say, okay, let's force this one only into this lane and the straight ones can only go here. This will take care for a smoother flow right down there. Now of course also don't forget to then just also put one here, that one there, and that one there. Now it is very easy to quickly get addicted to, you know, move all of this stuff around. But in this way, this traffic flow will be more smooth. Now, of course, I could have done this also in a 4-laner, since it will be 1, 2, and then also 1, 2. But it all depends on how heavy the traffic will be. If it's only for this area, this could just do the job. It is also that this is a very long piece down here for them to, you know, stack up behind each other, and or most of these guys will just go off toward the highway. It is not too much trouble around in this area. Alright, so in this case I'm just gonna connect this up simply like that. Same around here. Turn this around like that. And then we have simple on and off right down here. And like I've been saying before, in this case we could simply use this because just for that and that for this. And right down here, they can decide for themselves because there is another node here if they want to go this way, that way. Now maybe we need to change something on that later on. I'll just have to see. And one other thing that I am going to do is I'm going to turn off all of these zoning. So it will look a little bit more organized, a little bit more pretty if you would. And just keep it like that. And then for now, because once you remove some parts, might turn, you know, ugly. And also I want to connect this up already, so I'm gonna get the guarantee that it looks nice. And I need to stop this just in the front of where we should go down. See here, it doesn't show me anything. Not quite sure what's going on with that. Guess it's like money related issues here. Yeah, money related issues. And sometimes things can look like ugly, just like here. That is because this is like a nice road with nice like sections down here. And this is just a between in road. It is just somewhere in connected. And I've noticed that could make things like messy sometimes. I'm just going to turn that off. And as you right away see, this here is got to fix it. This is just going to be a little bit of a non-area to say. I'm not quite sure what to call it, like a no man's land. We're going to add some trees to make it look nice in the surrounding. Alright, so in this case the roundabout is fixed and I can just, you know, delete unnecessary things. And I would actually like to start up this industry down here somewhere. And then of course, very important is to connect some power lines. I hope this will connect because sometimes can be a little bit, you know, like, oh, it's just not enough. One nice thing of Cities Skylines 2 is that we also going to get underground power line. There are a lot of things that are ideas from mods. It's okay by me because this game, if you want everything perfect, you need to download a lot of mods and it can turn this game heavy very quick. Now one other thing later on that we're going to do, we're going to make use of pathways, because one thing, if there is a lot of stuff here and a lot of stuff there, people will continuously cross and that will, you know, cost your traffic flow. So one thing that I'm going to do later on is just build a pathway that's going to go over, under, past here, over, and then back to the road. Then with this very handy intersection restrictions, you can actually turn this stuff off so the traffic can keep flowing. This is going to be super handy. It's a little bit futuristic to say, and the pathways itself, or the crossway, won't remove, but that's fine by me. And like I said, you know, if you need to install a mod for everything, it's gonna be very heavy. I had those things before in the past, Another handy thing of keeping space is for future expanding. Now, of course, you can remove things and just replace things and whatnot, but it will take a lot of work. And one thing, I am sleeping for a bit. I'm just thinking about it. I should actually make a district again right down here. And we're just gonna change this back to, I wanted to say Farmville, but I guess we already have that right around here. So if you would like to name this area, then let me know. For now, I'm just gonna keep it as it is. And of course, change this to farm area, and then delete this dirty industry down here. So go back to what it was. Now, of course, if traffic is gonna go too crazy around here, we can always, you know, make it like a one-way, going all the way around like that, and have a one-way go like that. The traffic flow will be, and could be, a little bit more smoother, and you can also just play around with lane connectors. Now, of course, at some point I want to have my power elsewhere, not in this area, because things are going to be too much cramped up. So we're going to take a look what the future can give us. Now, of course, I'm going to keep in mind later future, we're actually going to get some water wind turbine things. I just have to see where that is at. I don't have it already. Let's just take a look. I already have it. Am I being silly? Yeah, so we could just start building onto the water. And these water turbines deliver max 20, wind turbines are max 8, so that is also very nice. It gives us a little bit more power. Of course, now I can just crank it down for a bit and pay a little bit lesser. Now, in this case, it is also not a bad thing to have like low school people, low educated people, because there is something for every job. Because why high educated people would work in low industry? So what I'm going to plan down here is to make a neighborhood down here, also down here, and have some schools and facilities right around in this area, and then have another living area or neighborhood right down here. And we're also going to implement some shopping stuff here and there. I want to keep in mind, leave a little bit of space. There's also another very handy thing. If you're going to make a bus stop, don't make a bus stop just past like junctions and stuff, because that can cause a bit of trouble later on. And the first thing that I am going to do right down here, we're just going to keep things a little bit simple for the neighborhood. I would like to maximize some area out here to see where this is going to bring me. And best is also to just turn that on. Never forget about that, because I'm gonna be crying out loud. So in this case, to maximize this out, I am going to first need to set something up, right? Because I don't know the space from here. I guess that is just about it, right? I don't want to get too close to the farm area either. From this area, I can just say, okay, let's just try to cram it. Now, this is sometimes a problem. I can just turn this off. There we go. And now, start doing that. And I'm going to be honest, I am not really sure why. This is a lot wider than it's supposed to be. Normally, it is exactly, the circle would be here, so you can perfectly do that. No idea why. In this case, just gonna eyeball this out, and it also ends perfectly. So here we can just drop down a whole neighborhood. And also in this case, want to have like a roundabout right around here, and want to have it like perfectly straight. Gonna eyeball this out. Then we're gonna make like a smaller one. It doesn't really need to support like too heavy traffic. Now in this case, I am wondering how this is going to work out. The thing that I would like to do around here, see if I can make like a transaction. Yeah, it is going to give us this down here. It would be nice if it goes from one lane into 2 lanes, and then from 2 lanes you can just straight away decide, are we going to go off or are we going to need to go straight and then off around here? Transitions. Now, I believe in Cities Skylines this is also a thing, but way more beautiful, way more handier, with way better tools in order to make one laner into two laner, and to have all kinds of handy things to make it look way more prettier. Now, the good thing about this is actually, and there's also a mod which you can make like crosswalks like right around there, is that in this case we could actually for example turn this guy off and also turn this guy off, so people are right away forced to take this crosswalk, and this traffic that already passed through can already nicely flow that way. And also in this case turn this one off. Later on we can actually, well, no, people that needs to go to this area can actually, you know, go like down here, and then maybe we can make like a bridge pass to that area, and it's gonna go from this area to that area and make another pass here, and then from this area past that. So that way we interrupt this whole we don't get interrupted with the traffic flow. It's going to be super duper nice. Turn that off right away. Down here is actually something I should have been doing a little later on, but show you guys. Oh, this says just remove this stuff, and then yeah, it looks like that. That's gonna be super handy. I'd rather have people passing here. Of course, you can also make a bridge down here, but we're just gonna see how things are gonna go. Not from this area, they don't need like a crosswalk, so it's going to give us a good flow down here. In this case, I want to just drop down a couple of houses. Now, I'm also going to keep in mind our pinky. They often just turn off, and should not forget to turn it back on like that. And I would like to create another part right around here. Now, of course, this is going to crash a little bit, but I would like to do here, yeah, keep it like that. Later on, we're gonna make like a crosswalk between this neighborhood and that neighborhood, for whatever reason they need to cross to visit each other or whatever. In this case, it's gonna be very nice. Are we gonna do this? You know, I for some reason I just don't like that too much, going that way. Maybe what we could do is actually, you know, just connect things up, because I don't think there is a lot of traffic going from here to there via this road, and I even think it's not really a bad idea to do, since the roundabout will be a little bit more free, right? So traffic will be shared up evenly. Alright, so in this case I am going to use also the outside to fill up this neighborhood, and I'm just thinking like later on we can actually make like a nice pathway right around here. But later on, I mean right now, so, you know, disconnect that. Ooh, I see it doesn't connect like that. Let me just fix this up by going here and then just there for now, because later on the power will go around here and then probably connect up with stuff there, so we can get rid of this whole ugly power grid. And in this case, I just would like to connect a right like that. Might not be the prettiest thing. I'm not sure just yet what to do with this area. We don't have to just cram up everything already. But for now, this works. I have like a good connection to farm area. The sound noise is just at the edge. Now, what I'm also thinking, what we could end up doing down here is just add a couple of shoppings in here. Just a few, not too much. And the first thing that I would like to do is then, of course, create a nice road. That will be this, that. I don't think that's going to hurt too much. So can we create, yeah, like that, beautiful. Right, and that is looking nice too. Kinda is. There is something wrong with this, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's because it continuously, it continues with this road here, making, you know, this perfect empty square what we don't have here. Then it looks like funky. It also kind of looks like There is more on this side than on that side. Oh, I see what's going on. Alright, what do you guys think so far of this? I think it works out pretty well. It is way more beautiful. It is way more roomy, and things make a lot more sense. Okay, let me just quickly, show you around for a bit. I've been placing a lot of these non-natural looking trees that really look like they've been planted by humans. At first I wanted to have like these kind of trees that are way out here in order to match up for a bit, but it didn't feel like natural. Of course, here and there some people plant those trees, but I like these guys a lot better. Now, of course, we got some empty fields right down here, and the good thing of Cities Skylines 2 is that you can place one farmhouse and attach a whole farm field with it, which makes the game look so much better, so much more realistic, rather than having all of these small little plots everywhere around. But for now, we just have to deal with it. And of course, there might be some mods which gives you the opportunity to just, fake it out a little bit that there is like a farm fields around. Now, I did decide to change this intersection into a roundabout because I actually like this idea of what I've done here too, or it kind of fits in with this. A roundabout is the future, right? Down here is going to be the facilities, if it's about, all the emergency facilities. Some couple of extras I will place later on, like a library, maybe a university, maybe some other special things. And of course, I have placed another cemetery down here. Now, there is a little bit space left before hitting the highway that goes around the corner, right? So I've been thinking in the future we're going to need to use the crematorium. So what I will end up doing is make like a road down here and then place some of these guys along the way and kind of aim it out with the the bushes that goes along the way right down here. So it's just its own separate little area. Right down here will be another neighborhood. It will be like pathways going to emergency and other facilities type of deal. Right around here, I decided to add some fun stuff for people. So we have basketball fields, a nice parking spot near. The parking spot will also help, make people more happier at work, like parks. Here I got like a children daycare. Here I got a high school, and then right down here is like the elementary school. So yeah, people will get a little bit educated. It's a little bit more spread out because you can clearly see what's going on. Like these houses here are a little bit more fancy than the houses here. It is quite some distance, but this will take care that there is work for everything, right? Because more educated, less educated, and that kind of stuff. This is a good balance of the game. So of course here I will expand this out because normally it would hit the farmland here. I don't have a farmland here, so that is good. Leave a little bit of space because I don't know, not sure just yet how big the hospitals and police stations and whatnot will be. And I will place it on the outside, so on the inside I can make like a nice a walkway, have some trees on both sides, make the area look nice. Now, what will happen eventually between this episode and of course the next episode is that I slowly but surely off camera will demolish this down here, and I want to redo this area. So it's not it's gonna go gone completely. I will use the same idea, but I want to make it look more pretty, more logic, more realistic. Also, this stuff here I want to have this moved up elsewhere. Farmville will stay here. This road will always stay here. This road will always stay here. The Timberborn Forest and of course our village will always stay here. This stuff will also be gone. So you're going to see a lot of changes into the next episode. And also, I need to move this stuff up. So you will also see some stuff added on this side of the train track. And yeah, this is how I would like to continue in the future. Now, having too much space between might be a waste, but you also have to think about in the future, we're going to have train lines, tram lines, metro. Also, we're going to have buses. So it's also very nice to have like a long road with nothing, and then have, for example, a bus stop here. So, traffic can keep flowing without, you know, the buses interrupt them, because we're going to make use of long buses. Thinking about the future is very important, and things will fill in slowly but surely, and we shouldn't be afraid, you know, to leave a little bit of space, because in real life we have also a lot of space that is empty and it's just trees, or of course there's a lot of farmland built in, or at least for Europe it is the case. I know America there's also a lot of space with just nothing, nature or whatever. So in this case, if you would like to name the farm area, the farm district, let me know. We can also make this into one big district too, and then later on we're gonna have another separate district here. If you know some names, then let me know in the comment section. And of course I have chosen to name this random streets. Not only this guy, going to continue in this guy, it's just going to be a long one with this roundabout here and with this roundabout here, because these roundabouts bring you to a random place. You're gonna go end up in the farming area, you're gonna end up in the emergency facility area, you're gonna end up in the low slash medium neighborhood or the medium slash high neighborhood. It is up to you to add some more fantasy to that. Alright, in this case I'm going to also reconnect the highway, because now I got tons and tons of money. Now I need to make this guy right onto that guy. It would be fine. Alright, let's just crank this one.